Hello and welcome back to Boxes of Comics. I am your host, Chase Higgins, and we are excited that you could join us in this video as we continue to review all 9 Star Wars movies. In this episode, we will review Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. If you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications as we need to grow as a YouTube channel. And if you are not new here, well, welcome back. I hope you enjoy our content because that's what we put out. And we do it just for you. So this week, like I said, we will continue our journey through the Star Wars universe. We will watch and review Star Wars Episode 2. I already watched it, so now it's time for the review. A little background information is that Attack of the Clones was released May 16th of 2002 and was the second movie in the prequel trilogy, which started off with The Phantom Menace back in 1999. This particular story went and told what had happened before Luke Skywalker, before the Empire, and how the Empire went and rose into power, and then the Republic and the Jedis died out. So that's pretty interesting to see, and I really like the prequel trilogy. So this movie was directed by George Lucas. And George Lucas is known for movies such as American Graffiti, Star Wars Episode 4, and many others. And it was also produced by George Lucas's own company titled Lucasfilm, while it was distributed by 20th Century Fox and not Disney, because Disney is a whole different era of not goodness. Boycott Disney. Okay, so the film stars Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hayden Christensen will become the new Anakin Skywalker, as we no longer have Jake Lloyd. We have Natalie Portman as Padme Amidala. Try saying that 5 times fast. And there's many more, such as the talented Frank Oz as Yoda. Now that we have given you some background, let's review. Hello there, and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that intro. Let's begin with the movie, which is Attack of the Clones, like I said earlier. And we're going to talk about what I thought could have worked a bit better in George's favor. Not necessarily that it was bad, but he could have done a little bit differently to make the movie even better. So, this movie was indeed better than Episode 1. As Episode 2, which is this movie, was much more entertaining, but it still had its flaws. The first thing that could have been a bit better was that there was a ton of CGI compared to the first movie and the original trilogy as a whole. The CGI isn't necessarily bad, it's just overdone. Like, George went a little too far just to put it in there. He just put it in there just because he had it. The movie also seemed a bit boring at times, like when Anakin and Padme go on their little side quest with R2, and it's like, oh, let me use the Force to flirt with Padme. It's just weird. And then, there's also the part where Dooku and the Separatists are talking about their plans to the Death Star. I felt like that scene was just a little bit longer than it needed to be. Well, maybe it's not. I mean, it's my opinion, and I'm just a small YouTube channel that doesn't even have 200 subscribers. So, my opinion might not matter to George. But that's okay. But there's also the dialogue, which wasn't the best. George is known for not making the best dialogue. But it made the scenes with Anakin and Padme a bit cheesy and unrealistic. And another thing that seemed a bit off was the Camino was a lost planet that the Republic had no idea about. And when Obi-Wan discovered it and was trying to look for it, they thought he was crazy. But Obi-Wan went to Master Yoda while he was training the younglings, and they put the sheets down, and they went and they put out the big planet map. He's like, it ought to be here, but it's not. Bum, 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 bum. And then Yoda's like, help Master Kenobi find his lost planet, we will. And then all the younglings laugh at him, and I just feel bad for Obi-Wan because he's like space Jesus, and here everybody's just bullying him. But that's okay. It was just weird because a planet doesn't necessarily get lost. But moving on, another thing that I kind of didn't like was Anakin was really pushing Padme to go out with him. He's like, I don't like sand. Does that turn you on? And then it's like, no, but let's talk some more and have dinner. And then he's like, yo, I could use the Force to cut this pear. So he like uses the Force and grabs the pear and cuts it and then sends it back. And then Padme's like, ooh, that's so sexy. I've never known a man that can move a pear with just the Force. It's like, come on, George. That's not how anybody flirts. So, yeah, those were some weird things. But, you know, moving on, we have the good things about this movie. And there were actually a lot of positives. And I felt that this movie helped further the trilogy in the correct way. Because episode 1, I felt like had way too many expectations. And, like, was forced to be doomed from the start because, like, of what the fans were imagining what this trilogy would be. While episode 2 kind of took some time. It took 5 or 10 years off from episode 1. And then we pick up 5 to 10 years later in episode 2. And so time's passed, Anakin has grown. And, like, the trilogy, I think, betters itself that way because a lot of time has passed. It's not like a year, like in the sequel trilogy. It's not like 2 years, like from episodes 5 to 6. It, like, takes time to develop, and so, like, the character development's off screen, so that way George could just tell a story. So that was pretty good. And there's also, like, the first positive I had was actually Obi-Wan and Jango Fett meeting. And then Obi-Wan's on his way back, and he discovers, like, back from Kamino, and he discovered that there's a clone army. And so he tells Master Yoda and the Jedi Council. And then on his way out, he runs into Jango Fett getting ready to, like, blast off. And so they have a fight. That was really cool. That's my impression of a lightsaber. So that was really cool. There's also the clone entrance when Obi-Wan sees what's going on, and you see young clones that look like Boba, but then you also see older clones that like the cafeteria, and you see them training and getting ready to be shipped off to the Republic. So that was pretty cool. I think the clones are actually the best part of that movie. So, yeah. You also have the whole battle on Geonosis. It helped propel the movie even further. And then during the Battle of Geonosis, it takes time out from, like, the clones versus the battle droids and, like, the Jedi to focus more on Obi-Wan and Anakin going and fighting Count Dooku. And then you have Yoda versus Count Dooku, which was really cool because I don't know if it's in canon still, but in Legends, it was Dooku was the apprentice to Yoda. And so you kind of see that master-apprentice fighting style. That was pretty cool to see. Moving on to the good things about this movie and no longer focusing on the bad. There were a lot of positives, and I felt this movie helped further the trilogy in the correct way. The first positive I had was Jango versus Obi-Wan on Kamino. I thought that was very well executed. I thought that was just a brilliant scene by George Lucas, and it was done very well, and the fighting style and practice really paid off for that fight scene. After that, you have the clone entrance during the Battle of Geonosis, which was very cool because it's like right when the Jedi think that they're in trouble, all of a sudden the clone troopers come flying down in their ships and they attack and they help save the Jedi. But little do the Jedi know that that's how they are going to all die. So, but that's okay, because death is a part of life. I think that's a Star Wars quote. So, anyways, you had the clone troopers on Geonosis coming down to save the Jedi. You had Obi-Wan versus Jango, which was really cool. You also have Dooku versus Yoda, which is cool, as that is former Master Yoda versus former apprentice Dooku. And they fight for a while, and then... Actually, that fight happens right after Dooku knocks out Obi-Wan and tries to kill Anakin. Anakin loses an arm. And then Yoda comes in and he's like, my former apprentice you are. Fallen to the dark side you have. Ugly your mom is. So, like, that's pretty funny. That was a really cool battle because one aspect that stood out to me was when Dooku used his lightning, Yoda was able to catch it like a baseball and then throw it back at him, knocking him out cold. So that was pretty cool. Another thing that I liked was when Anakin goes to Tatooine and he just slaughters the Tusken Raiders to find his mom. And like, even though that's pretty messed up to say on camera, now that I think about it, it's actually a really good scene because that helps propel Anakin's journey to the dark side a bit more. And you even have John Williams, who does the music for Star Wars. He does the Darth Vader music, and if you look at at Anakin's shadow, it looks like Darth Vader. So that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, that was well done, and it helped develop Anakin's character, and the audience gets to see Anakin become closer to Darth Vader. So those are the good things about Episode 2, Attack of the Clones of Star Wars Saga. And now we will begin the wrap-up. Okay, so for this wrap-up of Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, I thought this movie was probably 6 out of 10 stars, as it was better than The Phantom Menace, which I thought was 4 or 5 out of 10 stars. This middle movie in the trilogy helped push the prequel trilogy to new heights and set up for a good ending movie, which would be Revenge of the Sith, very nicely. Attack of the Clones was very enjoyable and interesting to watch, and is a very good Star Wars movie to recommend to anyone that wants to watch just a Star Wars movie. Like, if they have nothing to do and they're like, hey, I want to watch a Star Wars movie, what one should I watch? You can be like, oh, watch Episode 2, it's pretty good. They'd be like, I'm going to watch Episode 2 because you said it was pretty good. Okay, cool, let me watch it with you. And they'd be like, okay. So, it's a good movie to watch. I enjoy it. It's definitely one of my brother's favorite movies. Although this movie isn't perfect, I thought it was very enjoyable. That's all the time we have for today's episode. So go ahead and like, subscribe, share this video with others. Let me know down in the comments, do you agree or do you disagree with what I said? You know, it's my opinion, so it can't be wrong, but you know, the mileage can vary on what you agree with, so it's okay to disagree. Let me know if you have any thoughts or comments about this video, and we'll see you next time on Boxes of Comics. Goodbye.
Chase!
Yes?
I'm hearing a weird noise.
We'll go see what the weird noise is.
Come on.
I don't want to. Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take your
No,
butt. See.
no,
I'm
no. Do it.
Come on.
Sitting on the toilet. 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 And flush. Let's go see what this is. What could it be? We're going upstairs. Where exactly did you hear this weird noise?
The upstairs closet.
Which upstairs closet?
The first one.
In the closet in your room?
No, this one right here.
Which one?
Right here.
Well, let me turn on a light.
Hear it?
Ah. Oh yes, there is a ring. See what it is called.